All right, what is going on with you guys, man? If you were watching this channel before, I know you guys probably remember the old name, but that is a non-factor. We don't care about that anymore. We're moving on to bigger and better things. And y'all know my past. Y'all know I like to talk. If you do know who I am, if you don't, well, over here, I will be going by Chaos Lee. And I am doing this podcast with somebody that I regard as a great friend of mine. I want to introduce y'all to my other host 1, 2, however you want to look at it. We run this shit over here. We run this show. This is my good brother, Phantom Sylus.
What's good, ladies and gentlemen? So, for those of you who may not know me or may not remember me, I was I've been friends with Culture Lee, whatever you want to call him, for the past couple years. We've collaborated on a couple things. He's made some appearances in YouTube videos past of mine, which are sadly gone. And I was even the first guest to be on his Totally Unbiased podcast on his I Am Lee channel. But now this has come full circle because not only was I the first guest on that podcast, but now for the first time ever, I am hosting my own podcast. Thanks to my buddy over here who has allowed me this opportunity to do this with him. Which as soon as he presented me with this opportunity and pitched me the idea, I was like, how can I say no to that? So
Yes,
I
sir.
thank you for I thank you for passing the hot tag to me to allow me to do this with you. So and there's gonna be a lot of wrestling references on this podcast, as you could tell.
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
hey, if you're not watching for wrestling, I mean, hey, I'm glad you're still watching. But what you watching for?
Exactly, exactly. You know what I'm saying? It's my tag team partner, man. He's been here since the very beginning, since what I was formerly known as to what I am currently known as, but it doesn't matter. He's been here through it all. This is a good friend of mine. And I'm glad to, open this new chapter, not only in my life, but in my content creator career, so to speak. So just to let you guys know, just to give you guys a good introduction on who I am. I have been a wrestling fan since 1999, since I was 3 years old, when the Big Show was the champion, getting ready to defend his title against Big Boss Man. I've been watching for so long. I was there during the golden ages of a little after the Attitude Era and during the Ruthless Aggression, during the beginning of the PG era when Cena and Big Show and Edge were facing off in the main event of WrestleMania to the depressing times in 2019 where Roman Reigns was getting dog food poured on him to the Netflix era, and now here we are. So I've been here through it all. I'm still watching. Hard to watch some days, but you know, uh, that doesn't matter that it's hard to watch. It matters that you watch it all. So yeah. Um, just to give you guys a broad, introduction on who I am. And then Silas, how long you been watching wrestling, man? Give these people a good idea that we're not casuals to this thing.
Alrighty, so let's talk about that. So I do not have nearly as much history watching wrestling as I do every other wrestling fan I know, except for anybody I got into wrestling because of me. But I first started watching in 2018. I don't remember the exact date, but I do know it was the month of March, and I could tell you in exact fashion how it happened. So I am a casual when it comes to combat sports in general, boxing and UFC. I only ever tune in when there's like some sort of like big match announced with some big names. And but around that time of March 2018, I started watching a lot of UFC stuff for the hell of it. And naturally, from watching all these sports videos on YouTube, one day I got this random YouTube video that popped up in my recommended from WWE's YouTube channel. And it was the from what happened after the main event of the Hell in a Cell 2012 pay per view, where The Miz and R-Truth came and attacked everybody who had just competed in that Hell in a Cell match. And it resulted in, well, the Hell in a Cell was closed and it was locked. All those wrestlers came out, were trying to break the door. They couldn't break it. But you mentioned Big Show and Mark Henry. With those guys as big as they are, how the fuck can you not rip open, with all that strength, how the hell can you not budge a steel cage door? How the hell did that chain not break? That somebody had to come out with a pair of bolt cutters just to fucking open the shit. And then by the time somebody came out with the bolt cutters and they got it open, they essentially surrendered themselves and got arrested by local police officers, quote unquote. And then as they were being taken out, Triple H jumped the both of them. So I saw this one YouTube video and I was like, holy shit, that was fun. That was so chaotic. I got to see more of this. And the rest is history. I mean, it's sad because part of me wishes I got into wrestling at different times in my life. And I'm only 24 years of age. I was born in 2002, but I still wish that I was maybe born earlier, or at least got into wrestling earlier. That way I could have grown up to experience a lot of some of the greatest moments in WWE history in the 2000s and the 2010s. So, but yeah, but I am a fast learner. I don't know everything, but I am a very fast learner, and I've gone back and watched stuff. So I've done my research. I'm definitely wouldn't consider myself a casual, far from it. In fact, wrestling is the only thing I keep up with on a weekly basis. The only sport I keep up with on a weekly basis that's not football. And it's about the only weekly TV show I keep up with on a weekly basis because I hardly watch shit. I mostly watch YouTube videos. But yeah, that's just how I got into it.
And trust me, man, as someone that's been watching this for nearly 2 decades, I mean, you missed some good stuff, but you know, you're catching up with some stuff that could be better. Many of WrestleManias have gone by that it just was amazing, and there's some that were bad. And speaking of which, we're talking about a WrestleMania that very well could either be a all-time classic or could be a absolute letdown. This WrestleMania this year, WrestleMania 42, it is well, it's boom or bust in my personal opinion because um, I mean, we all know about how much they're charging everybody for WrestleMania this year. They're charging an arm and a leg. Apparently, you know, ticket prices aren't the hottest right now, but nonetheless, they are trying their hardest to present us with a great product, a great, you know, card. And so today, me and Phantom are gonna talk about you know, the build to each match, night one and night two, the assumed night one and night two, and we are going to grade what we think of the build and you know just our overall excitement for you know the cards in general. So starting out, what is assumed to be night one, because I mean there's no way they're not going to have Cody Rhodes end off WrestleMania. It's just how it is with him. But um, we're gonna kick this off by talking about the Fatal Four Way tag team, the Women's Tag Team Championship match, which has Charlotte and Alexa Bliss. Then we have Lyra Valkyria and Bailey, a pretty uh, decent tag team. Then we have the Bella Twins, and the defending champions would be the Irresistible Forces, Nia Jax and Lash Legend. I'm not gonna lie to you. Build on this is it's I gotta give it a D, man. I gotta give it a D. What are we thinking for the build here?
Yeah, I'm not exactly the most hyped about this match either. As far as the build-up goes, I'm sure the match itself will be a serviceable match. I mean, everybody that's competing in this match is a good or great in-ring talent. Uh, well, the Bella Twins, I mean, they just returned as a tag team in recent months, so obviously there's still some ring rust there. But I think a D is a good grade because they're not really doing anything to really get us hyped for this match and make it feel that important. And I'm pretty sure the predicted winner, who we're going to get into in a minute, who because not only are we going to talk about the build-up, we're going to talk about who we think should win these matches as well, or are going to win. I think the winner is going to be predictable too, so I really don't think there's really much to talk about with this match
Not at
outside
all.
of nope, outside of everybody between Raw and SmackDown just want to crack at the tag titles. Now I will mention something. I, for one, am glad that for once Charlotte Flair is not competing for a woman's world title at WrestleMania because I might talk about this a little later in the podcast, who knows, but I just feel that she's a little bit overpushed. So I'm glad that she's gone to take a back seat and be part of the women's tag division because I do think it's helped to elevate it. I do think it's helped to make those tag titles feel more important because that was a complaint for the longest that the women's tag titles are not important at all, and a lot of the times the tag teams competing for them are not even established tag teams. They're just like either a random tag team thrown together just to go after those belts, or a tag team that became a tag team in recent days, in recent weeks. So I'm glad that, well, for one, enough time has passed to where all four teams competing, we can say, are established tag teams. You can make the argument. But I do think that they've done, a little more to try to elevate these tag titles, considering that the people competing in here are, for the most part, main event talents. We have, let's see, out of the one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 women in here. Somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, but I can see at least one, two, three, four, 5 former women's champions, maybe 6. I'm not sure if Brie Bella won one,
Yeah,
but
she. I think Brie was the first person to win a world title of the twins, and then Nikki has. I think she's. Don't quote me on this, but she might be a three time champion.
yeah, I do know that she's the longest reigning Divas champion. That's all I know though. But yeah, so okay, 6. So yes, 6 out of 8 of these women are former women's world champions. Um, so we have a lot of main eventers in this match for sure. And I think it does help these belts a lot. But as far as the match, this particular match, this particular build, I mean, we don't have to harp on this too much. We could just jump right into giving who we think is going to win. So let's start with you, my man.
Um, I mean, like you said, man, this match just yeah. It's a shame too because obviously, like you said, like the winner, it looks predictable. It sounds predictable. Um, it's gonna be the Bella Twins, and they didn't come back to WWE to just be here. They they're pretty vocal about wanting to be more. Their retirement to be more important. They want it to feel like a John Cena or a AJ Styles. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys. This may ruffle some feathers depending on how much you like the Bellas, but this may sound obvious to some. This may hurt some people's feelings. The Bellas are not John Cena, and the Bellas are not AJ Styles. As a matter of fact, I go as far as to say the Bellas are yeah, I don't understand how they're Hall of Famers either. Uh, I just, in my personal opinion, and again, this is not the type of podcast where we spew out, hot takes just to do it. That's not we're not those kind of guys. I've always felt this way. Even when Brie and Nikki were, full time talent in their prime. Nikki Bella's a really decent wrestler. She got better over time. Brie has always been stagnant. And she was like, we remember that 2018 run, I think, um, where she just was back and forth injuring people. She didn't try to improve. She was basically just Daniel Bryan's wife, who, was also a wrestler. And that's just how I viewed it. Um, I don't really agree with them harping so much for this retirement tour. The Bellas are they like here's the difference. If Alicia Fox came back, would you think Alicia Fox deserves a retirement tour? Probably not. She's also a former women's champion. If Kelly came back, would she would get a retirement tour? No. She was a pretty integral part to the early 2000 or to the late 2000s and the, early 2010s to some degree, right? She doesn't deserve it either. Most of the divas, right? Whoever basically was world champion, like if you want to say Nikki Bella deserves it, she more deserves it than Brie. As a tag team, like I can only say they stand out. It's just because they're twins, in my personal opinion. I've really never been a big fan of the Bellas, honestly. I feel bad too for the indestructible forces, by the way. Um, because this is a good tag team. I like that that Nia Jax is in the later stages of her career because she's 41 years old, so she's not going to wrestle for too much longer. That's the assumption at least. Um she's giving some shine to an up and comer, a future world champion in her own right, Lash Legend. I love it. I like this team personally. It makes too much sense. We got some powerhouse sisters, that are here whooping ass, and like Lash she just exudes a superstar aura. And then Charlotte and Alexa, like the point I want to get into, like you said it too, that we have a lot of main eventers here. I don't see some of these tag teams lasting up until WrestleMania 43, I fully expect Charlotte to get back into the main event scene, or at the very least, I would love to see her try her hand at getting the United States or the Intercontinental Championship, because naturally, you know how WWE is. They're gonna notice at some point, we have an opportunity to make Charlotte a two-time Grand Slam. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. I feel like they should focus on that first. That would probably be a better run for her. Charlotte isn't as bad as you guys make her seem to be either. A lot of these wrestlers, they just do what they're told. They get booked. They just do what's on the script. They just do they just got to do what they got to do. Alexa is an interesting case because I don't think they know how to book Alexa as a singles wrestler anymore. Um, I think they're confused. I think they view Alexa as this. You have to she's unfortunately, and she likes the role, the Bray Wyatt role, the Sister Abigail role that she's kind of given herself, but WWE didn't know how to book her right with that. I mean, yeah, I just don't get it. And then Lyra and Bailey, again, I don't see that tag team staying together for long either. I honestly, if they would pick up on the multiple personalities gimmick for Bailey, I see Lyra and Bailey at some point. This pays off with, the payoff is a rivalry between these two because they have decent chemistry. I like the chemistry between Lyra and Bailey. So all that to say, like on a long term basis, it makes the most sense to give this to the Bellas, have the Bellas, become the longest reigning tag team, have them go out as champions and stuff. That's fair. You want the tag team championships to matter. You go to and look at NXT and you look at Evolve. You find some tag teams from there. You bring them up fairly early if you need to, and you do it that way. But the main event scene for the women's division, they're gonna need some bodies, which we'll get into later. But uh, like I said, man, it's the Bellas. I think the Bellas make they probably have they're the best answer here. I give a runner up to Nia Jax and to Lash Legend, but the Bellas here is the answer.
Yeah, I think everybody's on the same page here, and by everybody, I'm not just talking about me and you, but the pressing fans watching this video too. I'm pretty sure it's obviously the Bella Twins, and I'm not even somebody who hates them. Yeah, I haven't had much experience watching them in real time, but I don't hate them or nothing. But I do think they are overhyped, and yeah, they're not as big as they try to make them out to be. And even all these women's segments are like, I still remember that one time, that one backstage segment on Raw with Io Sky telling Nikki Bella, "Thank you for paving the way." Like, what the
I
fuck
was
did
just
she
shocked.
pave
I
the
was
way
just so
for?
I was so confused when I heard that. I'm like, Pave,
The fuck?
what did she do?
Well, you know what? I will give Ronda Rousey credit for this, and this is probably the only time I'm gonna mention her name in this video. The best promo Ronda Rousey ever cut was that one promo on Raw with the Bella Twins, where the Bellas was like, "We've been knocking down doors," and then Ronda Rousey said, "The only door you knock down is the door to John Cena's bedroom."
And he kicked you out that exact same door.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's interesting for sure. Um, and Nikki's booking this year has even been sort of interesting as well. She's put over a few folks, so um, she's not selfish. Like most of the silly opinions usually comes from Bree for the most part, and you can't blame them. Again, you don't really know the true difference between a nostalgia act and like a legendary last tour. John Cena, that was a legendary last tour. um AJ Styles, we didn't get that legendary last tour, but he could have had one if he wanted one. Sting, that was a legendary last tour. Undertaker, that was a legendary last go round. It just the Bellas, like, I don't know. You wanted to, like, Trish could come back and get that legendary last tour. Lita could do that. They're both very capable wrestlers still. They could both go still. They could do that. But the Bellas, like, I'm sorry, but if you expect, like, I need to see something from Brie personally. I gotta see something. I know Nikki can still hold her own, but Brie, I gotta see. I have to see. I gotta see it to believe it. I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. The build has been a nothing burger. It's basically just been, I'll beat you. No, I'll beat you. And then, nothing of true substance really. I only give it a D because it's being held up by the fact that the women's champions actually do wrestle on a week to week basis. So we're able to gauge, how much chemistry each team, can have with each other. So yeah, a D. That's the best I can do. I'm sorry, guys. A D. But moving on from the Bellas. Match two, we want to talk about Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre. Build. Um, so I don't like this build, personally. I don't like how it started. I don't like how it started. Because it almost seemed like this was a shotgunned match. And it also feels like these two, like, this is just a Cody Rhodes scraps feud in a sense. These two just went from feuding with Cody, or really all feuding with each other, to now focusing on each other. We don't even know the full extent to, like, who attacked Jacob Fatu. Did we ever get the answer to that?
No.
Okay. Did like we like Drew loses the title to Cody and he automatically is like, okay, well, Jacob, hey, you son of a bitch. So, like, I understand. Like, here's the thing. I know that these two can make the feud better, and I think that this match, like, is an unsanctioned match. This is wonderful. I know they're gonna have a great match. My expectations, like, if I was to grade expectations for this match, I say I give it an A. Expectations, I give it an A. But as for the build, it is essentially Drew coming out complaining, as he always does, and Jacob giving out massive threats. They're gonna, crash out on each other leading up to the event, and it's decent, but the basis of it, the just why it started at all, I'm not too sure. So, like, again, I'll give it a C plus. I'll give it a C plus because, like, it's not what I expected, and it's not like the start wasn't great or anything, but I still expect a good match between these two. I always expect Drew McIntyre to ball, and I always expect Jacob Fatu to go hard. No, all gas, no brakes, right?
You know what
Um,
I mean?
Yada to me, right? Yeah, exactly. Like that like I expect them to, so yeah, expectations. And since I'm doing the expectations thing, expectations for the for the women's match is a I'm giving that a C. But this match, yeah, build C plus. Expectations A.
Yeah. And I'm really surprised that they made this an unsanctioned. I mean, I'm surprised, but I'm not. I mean, they spent like not this past SmackDown, the SmackDown before that, they spent the whole show literally fighting each other, the entire show. And in that aspect, in the kayfabe aspect, obviously neither of them are 100% going into Mania, so there's no surprise there because obviously, But I, I'm surprised that they didn't make this match what it was originally rumored to be, which is a Hell in a Cell match, because they talk about, or Nick Aldis will talk about, the only way I could contain you guys, that way they don't go wrestling all over the place. Ideally, you would have thought this is going to be Hell in a Cell. Hey, they're both contained inside the Hell in a Cell. That way they don't go fighting all over the arena again. But no, they made it an unsanctioned match to where, yes, they are going to go fighting all over the arena. But the match has to finish in the ring, obviously, because that's how an unsanctioned match works, which I don't understand that because it's unsanctioned. It's an exhibition. It's not going to go on either their win or loss record. So who cares where the match finishes? It might as well be false count anywhere because the match doesn't fucking count.
Exactly.
But either way, oh yeah, I have no complaints about the match itself because I already know these guys are gonna kill each other. So I already know we're in for some shit.
Very, very, very true. And I, bit like okay, what would you grade this build? Because I have one more thing I want to say about it. What would you grade the build, and what's your expectations for it?
Well, if I'm looking at the long term story, if I'm looking at it long term from when Drew and Jacob were first supposed to face off all those months back, and to Jacob's return, and then you know if I'm looking at it long term, I'd say I give it a good B. But if we're looking at recent events, then I think yeah, C plus is appropriate because again, Jacob still harping on the fact that Drew, he thinks Drew attacked him, but we never found out. There's never been no security footage that leaked or anything like that. And a lot of this whole feud has kind of involved Cody. Jacob was the reason Cody lost to Drew in Germany in the Three Stages of Hell match. And Jacob is essentially the reason that Cody won the title back, which doesn't make any fucking sense. But I guess yeah, long term B, short term I agree with you, C plus. And honestly, looking at it in hindsight, even though, and we'll talk about it later when we get to the main event of night one, I think it would have been a better idea had they gone with a fatal four way for the title, because at least story wise, it would have wrapped everything all together. But we'll go more into detail on that when we talk about the main event.
Most definitely. But I'd expect a good match nonetheless.
Well, quickly, I'm just gonna say for that match, Jacob.
You know what's funny?
Uh huh.
I'm going the opposite way. I'm going Drew McIntyre. I'm going Drew. I'm going Drew because first things first, Jacob's been losing a little bit like leading up to this. He lost to Trick, and then I forget who else he lost to.
Logan,
Yeah,
that pissed me off too.
yeah, that was
Like,
silly.
yeah, and the way he lost too. Okay, Logan came out with the brass knuckles when the ref wasn't looking and rolled him up. Like,
Yeah.
bro, how do you have Jacob lose to a roll up? At least if you had Logan hit like a it would have been a little hard for Logan to pick up Jacob Fatu's big ass, but to do the pulverizer. But at least if you had him do like a frog splash or do like an actual move and then pin him, fine, it would have been more acceptable. But I'm sorry, you shouldn't have Jacob Fatu losing to Logan Paul of all people. But
I
especially
mean,
not in the
hey,
fashion he did.
he is a 90 rating in 2K. he
But
is a
yeah, go ahead.
um I like okay, Drew, I just think Drew is I don't know, I think he needs it more. And I think I'll save what I have to say for the Cody match, but I think personally, Drew McIntyre, I don't think there's a story for Jacob Fatu after this to where you know, yeah, I just don't see it, man. I don't see it. I really don't see it. And I'm sorry. Jacob Fatu deserves so much more than what's going to happen to him after WrestleMania. But I don't know. I kind of sense a slight fall off that's going to happen with Jacob afterwards. You know how WWE is. You know, when the hot commodity isn't as hot, you know, then they start giving them a few losses that don't make sense, and then they start going through unexplainable, growth pains like LA Knight. So I think Drew's gonna win here. I think Drew's gonna win here by extremely nefarious means. He's gonna do something that is absolutely just we're gonna think is gonna cross the line. Um, but this match by no means should be like a basic little one-on-one match. This should be all out. Just like you need to think that these guys want to kill each other. That's that's
Yes,
what that's what they need to head with this. So I don't want a simple little let's have a fair fight. Like, no, I need to see low blows getting hit. I need to see steel chairs. I gotta see ladders. I gotta see tables, two tables getting stacked on each other, thumbtacks, wrenches. I gotta see chains getting used. I want to see people getting thrown into the crowd. I want to see them go into the locker room and fighting. I want to see this end outside. I want to see this fight end outside in Las Vegas. I want a full crash out. That's what I want to see here. If you wanna book an unsanctioned match, then okay, make it different from a sanctioned match. Don't give me something Cody Rhodes would do and end this shit in the ring. Like let's give these guys a good little 20 25 minute just knock them out fucking absolute drag out slobber knocker, as JR would say, Like let's go that route. And I believe Drew McIntyre is the guy that's gonna take full advantage of that. Um, so yeah. But I think this needs to culminate with Jacob Fatu losing his mind. I want to see a heel turn from this guy. But not in this match. I just want to see him begin to spiral during this match. So yeah, that's where we're at there. So I think personally Drew's gonna take it.
yeah, I can see that. I mean, I picked Jacob to win it on well, partly because he's the face of this feud, but if Drew does win, I could also see a scenario where the actual attacker of Jacob Fatu, if it ain't Drew, could cost him the win against Drew McIntyre as well, because we still need a resolution of that story. For a guy that likes long term storytelling, he kind of forgot a lot of his stories.
You're
So
talking about Triple H.
yeah.
Speaking of a good match, next up we have the 5-man Intercontinental Championship ladder match with Dragon Lee, Javon Evans, Rusev, JD McDonough, and Penta. Now, build, obviously this match just got announced, and kind of stupid, but they just had they announced the qualifier matches on main event. Um I don't know if you don't know if you've seen that. But
Uh, yeah, I did. As a matter of fact, I didn't know they were the qualifying matches, but I was at Raw in Madison Square Garden. At the time of this recording, that was the most recent Raw. I was there live, and I saw the main event taping before the show where they had Javon face Rayo Americano and Rusev face Otis. And they didn't announce them as qualifying matches either. They just announced them as normal one-on-one matches. And I had no idea that they were qualifying matches until after the show when it word made rounds on social media, which I think I think it was stupid to have these qualifying matches on main event because we could have had. And I remember as soon as I saw that, I'm talking to the guy next to me as Javon's making his entrance. I'm like, how the fuck you got Javon Evans on main event? Like, bro, he just got called up. He's been on every Raw ever since he got called up for the most part. And it's like, bro, how the fuck you already have him wrestling on main event? A show nobody watches, a show nobody cares about. Like, dude.
eh, I don't mind it so much off the it's a like I view main event as a tuning show, like keep these guys in gear, keep these guys in shape, keep them, keep the ring rust off, that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't mind it. It's just don't forget he's a Raw superstar. Don't only have him wrestling on main event for for months and months and months, and then it's like, oh hey, we have Javon Evans is on the fucking roster. You know what I'm saying? So um, yeah, I don't
Mm-hmm.
mind it. What I find so stupid about the qualifying matches is if you'd have had those first, like if Penta would have announced that, and then next week you had the matches, cool. But you were, as soon as you announced it, you had a graphic made. Triple H is putting out the graphic for it, and then you even have Javon Evans on you know what I'm saying, during one of those Raw exclusive interviews, and then he's saying I'm going to WrestleMania. So it's like, did you guys think about this before you like? Was there even a point in doing the matches? Like, okay, I'll say this too. By the way, um, build. I'll probably we'll put NA here. It's non applicable. Because yeah, they just got announced. So no build. But expectations again. This is a 5-man ladder match, and all of these guys are certified hoopers. These guys can go. Every single person in this match can go. I have no issue with anyone in this match whatsoever. People seem to think JD McDonough is just some dud. I promise you guys, you don't know who Jordan Devlin is, clearly. This dude, he's good, okay. And I'm gonna think that he's gonna be the star of this whole thing. If not him, then it's gonna be Javon Evans 100%. But I think every single one of these guys in this match deserve their due. They're all owed something, especially Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee has been impressing me week in and week out. I definitely think that he's somebody that um that would be want they want to pay more attention to. If it were me, like I understand you can't give attention to everybody, and there's just yeah, whatever. Um, truth be told, um, I can't actually pick an accurate winner here. I can't.
Now, like I said earlier, there's a pick who I would want to win, but there's also the pick that I think is going to win. Who I want personally is Javon Evans, Partly because number one, recent NXT call up, he's been, he has a rocket strapped on him. And I also, he never did win a title in NXT, despite all the title opportunities he got, which made me a little upset. But and it shocked me that they were so fast to call him up to the main roster instead of keeping him down in NXT and letting him cook for a little bit, and then actually giving him the NXT title and letting him be the face of the brand for a while. But I think that in my heart, I would love for it to be Javon Evans. Now, who do I think is going to win? Well, considering Penta just won the title a month ago, and I do love Penta, and it would be kind of fucked up if he were to lose the title so quickly. So I do think that WWE is going to keep the IC title on Penta for a little bit. So my final prediction will be Penta.
I think you're underestimating how spotty a booker Triple H is. Who do I want to win? Um, I agree. Javon Evans is a great pick. But they're not going to go that route. They're going to have him go through some growth pains. Javon Evans is not even 25 yet. I think he's 22, 23. He's super duper young. They're going to have him, you know, uh, 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 experience some losses and adversity all the way up until he's 30. And then, they're going to forget that he was once upon a time a really big star. Sounds like Tyler Bates so far. They're gonna do. I think they're gonna do that to him. They shouldn't do that to him, but I have a fear that's the case. But yeah, I would love for Javon Evans to win, and if not him, then I think they could do some really good with Dragon Lee as well. But who is going to win? I actually disagree with you. I do not think that Penta is going to retain. WWE do not care about making somebody like Penta the a transitional champion. Um, you're forgetting not too long ago, they took the title off of Dominic just to throw it back on him. So, uh, they do not mind getting a title off of a guy that just won the title. Um, who do I expect to win? Personally, I 100% see Rusev pulling this one off. Um, they have been trying to include Rusev in storylines for a while now, and I see no reason why they can't do this because, I mean, hey, he's another guy that's been trying to go at the Intercontinental Championship just like Penta for a minute. Penta, I think, had like 7 Intercontinental Championship opportunities. He had a lot of opportunities for this title. So, yes, it'll suck for Penta to lose. But at the same time, I think they want to do something more with Rusev right now, and honestly, I'm on board with it. I think it makes sense to do something with Rusev, just because, for starters, so far Rusev's return, like it's meh. It's not the greatest, but they're utilizing him in some way, shape, or form. It's just, yeah, man. Other than building other people up, like Rusev didn't come back to build people. He's still at a good age to where he could be built to. Like you can have a pretty dominant run with Rusev right now. So he's back here. He has a different gimmick. He's a destroyer. Put the title on him. I see no reason why we can't do that with Rusev. Truth be told. So I know Triple H, and I know who he wants to try out and all that stuff. Well, I don't know Triple H, but we kind of get a gist of how his booking is. I 100% see Rusev pulling this off, and if not Rusev, runner up for me. I mean, the guy I see like zero chance winning this is JD. I don't see him like getting an opportunity to even close to winning this title. Because it would just be weird for Finn and Dom to do what they're doing, and like, yeah, and then he's still in the Judgment Day and Dominic doesn't have a title but he does, like, that'd be weird. um Yeah, no. 100%. I see this going to Rusev, and if not Rusev, I see them actually pulling the trigger with Dragon Lee. But expectations 100%. This is going to be an A plus. This is going to be one of the best matches on the card, for sure. Ladder matches do not fail ever.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And also keep in mind, of the five people in this match, four of them are high flyers. So you already know they're all about to do some batshit insane stuff.
Exactly. Some very, very wild. I can already see Javon Evans doing his OG cutter off the ladder. So I can see that happening. Or at the very least, he's gonna do the OG cutter to somebody on top of the ladder. And that is going to be the one of the OMFG moments this year. I'm ready, man. Like this is the match that I'm 100 like I'm anticipating the most. Second. But we'll get into that first match. It's gonna be a while before we get into that match. But yeah, 100%. NA for the build, A plus for my expectations. Next up we have Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams for the United States Championship. I,
Oh, I've been waiting for this shit.
shit. Okay. I kicked off the
Yeah.
builds before, but I'm yeah. I think you ready to say something? Go ahead. You got it.
Oh, okay. Let me just say first off. Let me just say first off, CM Punk, you called the wrong person a bald fraud because the real bald fraud is the guy who books the show sitting in Gorilla. Hunter, if you ever somehow stumble upon this, I got some words for you. Fuck you for the way you did Carmelo Hayes on SmackDown. It was obvious you were building up to Trick Williams and Sami Zayn from the jump. Did Sami really need to win the fucking US title for this match? No, he didn't. So, way to fuck over Carmelo Hayes, who was having a great U.S. title run, who everybody, like myself, was really anticipating would get on the Mania card and would have an amazing match because he's been having amazing matches ever since he won the U.S. title, having to open challenges week after week. You know, he's been doing his thing. He's absolutely the workhorse of SmackDown right now. And then, so Trick Williams gets a WrestleMania match, a guaranteed WrestleMania match against who we don't know. Well, that in storyline, that's what they try to make it seem like. So then Sami Zayn attacks him backstage. Then later on in the show, Carmelo Hayes comes out to do, business as usual, defend his U.S. title in an open challenge. Then Sami comes out, and of course Trick Williams comes out to commentate, sit at ringside, as he was pretty much gonna do every time Sami Zayn came out. And then he tried to cost Sami. Sami moved out the way. Trick inadvertently hit Melo. And then, because we've been seeing the interaction Sami has had with Cody and with Randy, so there's two people telling him two different things. But the one thing they both are saying to him is to take advantage, listen to the intrusive thoughts in his head, and take the opportunity. So because Sami Zayn obviously trying to be the hero, trying to be this, do the right thing, have this moral compass. And it's like, come on, get the fuck out of here. That's so played out. So Sami finally takes Cody's advice, takes advantage of Melo being down, and wins the fucking U.S. title. Oh my goodness. You have no idea how mad I was, as everybody else is, because I don't think there's a single person right now that agrees with his booking decision. Now, Sami and Trick was going to happen at WrestleMania regardless, but this match clearly didn't need the U.S. title at all. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure when we predict who's going to win this match, I'm pretty sure we know the reason why they gave Sami the U.S. title in the first place. So, all right, let me get your 2 cents on this.
Now, first off, love the fire. Second off, let me say this. Do I like that Sami Zayn won the title? No. Do I appreciate or do I see where they're going with it? Yes. I 100%. I'm not sitting here saying that I like that Melo lost his title. I don't. The build on this match has been silly. Um, because when Nick Aldis, by the way, Nick Aldis, shitty general manager, by the way. I just need to say that. I don't like his general manager style so far. It's just it's been shit for a few weeks now. Um, I'm gonna say this, okay? Um, Nick Aldis goes to Trick and says, "Hey, you're a baller. You got a match at WrestleMania." Then Sammy comes and he says, "Hey, Sammy, you don't have a match at WrestleMania." Okay, so I'm sure the questions in our head was, well, okay, if Sammy didn't have a match without the title, he wins the title. Okay, so who was his opponent for Trick? Oh, it was Sammy the whole time. So basically, what that tells me is the WrestleMania, if not for Sammy, would have been Trick versus Mello. That's what that meant. It means that that was the match well, not originally planned, but in kayfabe or storyline. If you go off of how Nick Aldis was talking, that was actually the match. That was the match that Aldis had in mind. Okay, cool. You say that Sami Zayn doesn't need the title. I say this. I say this. This match will 100% end with a double turn. It's going to end with a double turn. Trick Williams is going to be at least if not a full baby face, he's going to be a tweener. He's going to be a tweener. He's going to be somebody who still, talks like a heel, but the fans love him so much. He'll pander to the fans whenever he's in a city, like CM Punk, when he says shit like, "Isn't it great to be alive?" and dot 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 dot. Um, so he'll do stuff. He'll do that shit. Now build. Um, Sammy and Trick have been talking in the back for weeks. Sammy's been talking to a lot of people. He's been talking to Cody. He's been talking to Karrion Kross. I mean, Aleister Black and Scarlett. Oh, I mean, Zelina. Um, yeah, he's been talking to those two. Um, and Alistair's been, "Oh, you need to listen to those voices. You're not a good guy, Sammy. You're not a good guy, Sammy. You need to crash out, Sammy. You need to fuck Trick Williams is a woman, Sammy. You need to, like he's
Where have
getting
I heard this stuff before?
exactly right. He's saying all this shit, and it's like, all right, bro. Again, I want to say this: Triple H, you are so disrespectful. You are so disrespectful. Instead of, you got a baller and Aleister Black, and instead of giving him his own gimmick, you want to give him fucking Karrion Kross's gimmick, and Karrion Kross's gimmick was even that was Sean O'Hare's goddamn gimmick. So essentially, this gimmick belonged to two other people before going to Aleister Black. Now, I'm sure some snarky asshole's going to be the devil's advocate gimmick doesn't have to belong to one particular person. It just so happens that this exact same thing happening with this exact same person, it was it was introduced by Karrion Kross first to Sami Zayn. And now it's being continued with Sami Zayn with a whole different fucking couple. There's no Scarlett, there's no Karrion. Nah. It's Aleister Black and it's Zelina Vega. I'm not gonna sit here and say I don't like the gimmick because I personally love the Devil's Advocate gimmick, but at least like give it a second. Like give it a second. Karrion Kross hasn't even been gone for that long before you already are reheating his nachos, as the Twitter girls say. Um, it's just weird to me. But that aside, they've been seeing each other in the locker room for some time, and obviously I'm not opposed. I wasn't opposed to them having a match. I think that these two they're probably gonna have great chemistry because Sami Zayn, contrary to what people believe, he's a really good wrestler. He's a great wrestler. Trick Williams is an adaptive wrestler. I feel like he's as good as his opponent is. He's not a guy that's going to carry a match. He's a guy that's going to ball with you, or he's going to suffer with you. Um, so Trick is real good at making a match sound better, and he's done a good job here. You know, being the bully in the back. Sami Zayn clearly is about to lose his fucking mind. That's what we're expecting. That he's going to lose his mind and he's going to take any advantage to keep the title. The bad decision here is letting Sami Zayn keep the title. Build, I'm going to give this build a B minus because the build hasn't been the worst, but I think what got in the way of this build was Sami Zayn winning the title. I kind of agree with you. It doesn't need a title. The only way they can kind of give some payoff here is if Sami Zayn loses it as soon as he gets it. It then helps him go insane quicker. So I'm gonna give it a B minus. As for expectation, I expect this. I'm gonna give it a B. I'm gonna give it a B. I'm gonna give it short term. I'm gonna give it a B. Long term, probably a C. Um, it gets a C if they fully commit to both men after this rivalry. Uh, who do I think is going to win though? I 100% think that the winner of this match will be Trick Williams. I think Trick is going to win. And I think Sammy's going to lose his mind and attack Trick Williams. And the fans are going to cheer for Trick. And that's what's gonna, they're gonna cheer for Trick. They're gonna boo Sammy leaving. The security guards are gonna try to pull Sami Zayn off of Trick Williams. You know, it's gonna be this big deal. The fans are going to lose their minds. Hell, they may even cheer Sammy when he turns heel because I'm not gonna lie, internet and the internet usually don't really correlate to what's going on in real life. But I think the internet and real life are getting along here at least. I think people are getting tired of this Sami Zayn. Oh, I'm such a sad little guy shit going on. It's just kind of it's old, man. It's old. Um. So yeah, expectations. I'm giving it a B. B minus B. Um. Trick Williams is who I want to win and who I think will win.
Yeah. And as I alluded to, that's why I think they ultimately did this because they want to give Trick Williams the United States Championship from the look of things, which I'm not against him winning the US title at all. I just don't think that Sammy should have beaten Mello. I think, at least this would have been me, let Sammy and Trick have their match at WrestleMania, and then have Carmelo Hayes drop the US title on the SmackDown after Mania to Trick Williams in an open challenge. Naturally, I think that was the way to go, to where we could not only have Sammy and Trick have their match, but also give Trick the US title. And I think it would have sufficed a little bit better if that was the end goal. And I do think Trick is going to win this match, as I want him to win this match. Well, because one, he deserves the title, but also two, Sammy doesn't fucking need it. He just had the US title all those months ago, and it's like he doesn't need it right now. With the way his character direction is going, his character doesn't need a title. What his character needs is to go insane. His character he needs a heel turn. He needs to start losing his mind. He needs to start questioning who himself he is as a person about doing the right thing and start tapping in, taking Cody's advice, taking Randy's advice, start capitalizing, start listening to the devil on his shoulder in a sense, and just wow out. That's what he needs. He does not need a title right now. And I hope to God that this is not true. But if they have Sammy turn heel and retain the title that way, oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's how I think that would be how you ruin the match, personally.
Oh yeah, that would be. That'd be worse than them giving him the title. Which, speaking of which, because well, when I talked about, no, I'll save that for later in the podcast. So yes, Trick Williams is who I want to win and who I expect to win the U.S. title. I think I see the vision here. I see the end goal, and I agree with it. Trick Williams, new United States champion. Uh, let's talk about it.
Right. Let's talk about it. You know what would be perfect, and
Mhm.
I am sure that a lot of y'all would agree with this arc. I think they should have made it a triple threat match with Trick and Carmelo and Sammy. But Sammy still loses his mind. Trick still wins. He's beating Trick up, and Carmelo helps. So he's indifferent at first. You know how everything ended in NXT with Trick and Carmelo. Well, Trick and Carmelo, they teamed up at NXT one more time. They did it. You know, they helped each other out one more time. You know, Trick Mellow Gang, it didn't absolutely end. He went down there to help Trick out one more time. Also, I'm sure you guys don't watch all the videos on WB's YouTube channel, but sometimes they upload videos of guys watching the Royal Rumble. Well, guess who two watched the Royal Rumble together? Sammy and Carmelo Hayes watched together. They watched together. So they have an element of respect for each other. They had some camaraderie together. They've seen each other. How much sense would it make for Sammy to be conflicted and for Carmelo to be conflicted and not knowing to pull Sami Zayn off of Trick Williams, knowing that Trick Williams once upon a time was his adversary, but also his best friend. Also, Sammy, a guy that he has respect for, a guy that's been a good guy for so long, a guy who's giving him advice in the locker room, a guy who he had a great match with, for to get the United States Championship in the first place. Um, well, it was Ilya Dragunov and Carmelo, but yeah, um, it makes so much sense. That would have made in my mind, like it's fine that they have just Trick and Sammy, but including Carmelo Hayes would have added the drama factor. Triple H is so big on surprise factors and stuff, and making stuff more dramatic and stuff. Like that's how you make it more dramatic. You make Carmelo Hayes not know who to save, not know who to help. You don't know if Trick is still going to be evil after the fact. You don't know if he's going to appreciate your help. But you do know this. You do know you have history with both men. And that's how you give Trick Williams a storyline with Carmelo later. That's how you give Carmelo a story with Sammy later. Because Carmelo's a face. He's a good face, even. You go ahead and give him something to do after the fact. But that's not the case here. They're gonna proceed with the one-on-one. Maybe, Carmelo will bring up the punch from Trick later. But it's just a shame that we even have to wait for that to happen. I think this year's WrestleMania would have been a nice time, or maybe you wait to establish both men and then introduce it at 43. Depending on where both men are momentum wise, I think Trick will be all right. I think Carmelo, as long as you keep him having the great matches he has, I think Carmelo will be just fine. But yeah, that's the direction I would have went had this been me booking WrestleMania and not Hunter.
Yeah. So before we move on to the next match, I do want to say that there's some murmurings going around that, WWE is supposedly listening to the fan interest and wanting Carmelo Hayes to be involved. So I will just briefly touch on this. If in the event that the match does get made a triple threat and Melo gets inserted, or fuck it, make it a fatal four way, put Dragunov in there too. My prediction will still be the same. I still see Trick walking out US champion regardless.
Yes, I think that should be the direction they go in. And they still need to have Sami Zayn go insane. They need to have him go insane, and they need to go. They need to have him going insane, and he needs to lose his mind and finally, just do something different. We're done with the underdog stuff, man. Like how much of an underdog are you if you've in this past year you've won the Intercontinental Championship, you've won the United States Championship twice now, and like you're not an underdog, man. An underdog is trying to fight to get to the top. You've been somewhere near the top for a minute, so I don't think that's an underdog. An underdog would be Carmelo Hayes, who you just took the title from. An underdog would be Dragunov at some point, who you gave the title to, and it was a good call. And again, I gotta say this: Sami Zayn, like all these wrestlers, they're not the villains. Not the villains. They don't book themselves, but at the same time, again, it's just the way it looks. We could be tired of the talent, but it's exhausting. It's really exhausting. But yeah, that's where I'm at with that. B for the build, or B minus for the build, and B for the expectations.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm gonna just keep the same. I'm gonna just keep the same grading for that. Don't worry, I'm not gonna. Don't worry, guys. I promise I'm not just gonna go along with everything he says.
Yeah, it just makes sense, guys. Trust me. Like we talk about wrestling a lot, so it just makes sense. But the next match is actually a match that I have mm, I don't have the best opinion of. It is Stephanie Verker defending her title against Liv Morgan.
Yep.
I'm gonna actually let you start off because yeah, nah, I got a lot to say. I got a lot to say about this one.
Let me first off just say, build wise, not that I think the build has been the worst build, but I don't really care too much because most of their build has just been brawls because it just seems like lately WWE doesn't want to actually give them time to do stuff. And well, at least ever since Liv made her decision, um, it doesn't seem like WWE wants to give them like an actual promo, like to talk to each other. Either they'll give one a vignette talking about the other, or they'll just give them some like quick little brawl. Or the one sit down, the one time they actually had a sit down with each other was that one segment where Stephanie was talking to Liv in Spanish and then Dominic being her translator. Now that was definitely a moment that should have been saved for after Liv made her decision. Um, because I think that could have definitely benefited this feud greatly had it been saved for this moment where we know we already know. I mean, we already knew Liv was going to pick Stephanie before she even picked her. It's that's the thing. WWE makes these choices obvious when it comes to these Rumble winners, and I wish they wouldn't. I wish they would let stuff dangle a little bit. Like, well, sometimes it's already obvious when the person wins, but even when they try to play this game of, ooh, I'm gonna show up on the other show, maybe I might choose that champion. Cut the shit. We already know who you're gonna pick, so just do it. So the build, I give it about a C. So the as for the build so far, I give it about a C. But I do think the match is going to be great. I do think it's going to be a great match, definitely. And before I predict who I think should win it, obviously I'm going to turn it back over to you and get your 2 cents on this. And I know it's going to be something negative.
Not entirely. Stephanie Vaquer, I want to start with her. Stephanie Vaquer is a wonderful wrestler. She is. Um, it is very obvious that WWE sees so much in her because she held on to the NXT Women's North America Championship and the NXT Women's Championship at the same time. That has never been done before. Only her. Mandy Rose, you were not a double champion. Stop saying that. You weren't a double champion. Stop it. Um Stephanie Vaquer is amazing. I love Stephanie Vaquer. I have nothing bad to say about her actually. If it was up to me, Stephanie Vaquer would be booked much better. But it's kind of obvious when WWE doesn't see any future for you as a champion. They'll book you against the same fucking 8 people, or same 3 people, because 8 would be generous. 3. two even in Stephanie's case. How many times have you seen Stephanie go against Raquel Rodriguez and yeah, if you know who the other person is, yeah, I'll give you $5. But I'm just how she was booked as champion. I'm not a fan of. Now this match, because obviously this would be Stephanie's best opponent, build wise. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I think this match would have done so much better if Raquel Rodriguez was involved in some capacity. I actually think I had a feeling that maybe Raquel Rodriguez would have took the title off of Stephanie Vaquer, and instead of, because knowing that Liv had won the Elimination Chamber and Stephanie and Raquel still had that match. Oh, okay. Raquel has to go against Liv. Okay, Judgment Day is ending anyways. That would have been such a great payoff because we're splitting everybody. Roxanne Perez just came back. She has to pick whoever. I personally think Roxanne's gonna side with whoever Finn Balor. I mean, he's gonna be doing his own thing, but I think Finn's gonna convince Roxanne Perez to do her own thing because he's the one that introduced her to the group. But it might not happen because he introduced JD to the group, but JD's a dickhead. Um, he's not loyal to anything and anybody. This is a guy who signed an NXT contract in his own blood one time. Uh, so look, Stephanie's great. She was
Mm-hmm.
booked shitty. She was booked shitty, and I think WWE knows she was booked shitty. Liv Morgan is the person that is going to take up my negative time today.
Mm-hmm.
I I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but I'm fucking tired of Liv Morgan. I don't like how she cuts promos. She's a decent wrestler. Yeah. Her as champion though, her as champion is much better than anything else. I think Liv is one of those rare cases of better as champion than better chasing. Like Cody Rhodes is a better chaser than a champion. Um, Liv is a better champion, and like kudos to her. She has a lot of personality, and she has a really big fan base. And I'm sure I just made them mad, but I mean, anybody that opposes Liv isn't in their favor. So whatever. It's like burning toast. It's gonna happen at some point, right? Um, it's I just don't fucking get it. Um, just Liv Morgan. I just don't get her. Okay, the momentum shift with her all the time is just is. And without the Judgment Day, I'm really like I don't know where this is gonna go because her by herself, like I don't know if her and Dominic are gonna stay together after the Judgment Day, split or whatever. I don't even know how the dynamic will work with a split there, because obviously if they split, Dominic has to stay a heel. He has to. Dominic is a great heel. I would rather, but Liv Morgan as a face ain't like I don't know. I don't know, man. She's better as a heel, in my personal opinion. Um, but yeah, this match. Uh, what did you give the build?
I gave it a C.
A C. The build. So I actually like the fact that they haven't let each other talk to let them talk to each other. It's okay because Stephanie doesn't speak great English, and I think the vignettes of her speaking, in her own language, speaking Spanish, um, I think it's cool. Uh, by the way, I cringed so bad when Liv Morgan said the puta basura bullshit. That I don't even speak fluent Spanish. I understand it pretty well, but I don't speak it. But that was cringe because it was like it was like when you were in high school and you got popcorned to say something, and you popcorned the dumb person in class. It was like her reading it off of a paper. Like that's how it sounded to me. Tu madre bas puta basura. I just don't. I didn't like that shit. I didn't like it at all. Um, yeah, no. I didn't fuck with that. And but the build, look, I give credit where credit is due. WB know how to do. They know how to do vignettes. They're really good at vignettes. They're really fucking good at vignettes. I like them calling out each other's backgrounds. I like that a lot. I like that they keep crashing out on each other. I like that. They can't stand each other. They fight all the time. And they call each other out all the this is a build. This is a build. So for the first time, we're gonna have different grades for the build.
Oh
These
boy.
guys have been going at it. They've been going at it. Yes, I may have a little difference with how they are and individually, but these guys have chemistry building this feud. This has been a hot build. I just wish Stephanie would wrestle on the main show sometimes, you know. Um, but yeah, um, I'm giving this build a smooth B plus. I like this build. I like it. I do like it. They're actually they called out each other's birthrights. Stephanie said you've been handed everything. Okay. Liv says, "Oh, well you come from nothing and you are nothing." And yeah, I was groomed to be better than you and I am better than you. Stephanie saying, "No, where I come from, I had to wrestle around the rats and yada yada. I had to, you know, like I like it. You know, I love it. I love this. And the vignettes made it even better. And then the fact that they can't stop fighting each other every week, that constantly they're beating each other up. It's wonderful. Now I wish Drew McIntyre and Jacob Fatu had a better, you know, standing for their feud. Sadly, it started off pretty stupid, which is why I gave it the grade I gave it. But um, yeah, this is gonna get a B plus for me. Probably the highest build up to this point. Highest for this first card so far. I'll turn it back to you for the expectations. What are we giving it expectations wise?
So expectations. I mean, obviously Stephanie is a great women's wrestler. Liv Morgan is a great wrestler in her own right too. So I do think we are going to get a great match out of this. So as far as like the match itself, I'm going to go with a uh I'm going to go with a B plus. Maybe like a high B to a low B plus because I don't see this match being like A territory, but I do see Stephanie mostly carrying the match.
Yeah, I kind of have the same kind of fear. Um, and then if I had to like predict what would be the match that the fans wouldn't really care too much for, like I'm not gonna lie, this match, is this just a regular singles match?
Yes.
See, that's not good. I think this match realistically should be like a falls count anywhere or like a tables match or something like that. You know, when's the last time they had a tables match at WrestleMania? But I would love to see them just crash out on each other. You know, like break rules. But I mean, obviously, with when you introduce no rules, you know, Roxanne and Raquel are gonna pull up and help out. You know, Stephanie didn't have anybody that's gonna help her unless one of Roxanne's old opponents want to come and help Stephanie, but like that's not gonna happen. Obviously, they're still gonna come anyways to try to help, but yeah, match wise, like the build obviously to me is pretty nice. Uh, expectations. I'm gonna give it a C plus. I think this would have the like they're both good. Um, don't know how they're gonna mesh yet, but this match, like obviously, and I could be wrong. Potentially, this could be like something, people talk about for a long time. Because no one sat there and said, "Oh, Rhea Ripley and Charlotte, they're gonna be like whatever," and it turned out to be one of the best women's matches of all time. So, um, potentially, I say this could be like like you said, a B plus, maybe a A minus, but just off the basis, I'll say C plus. I'll say C. Build is better than what I'm expecting, though, for sure.
Bear with me here because who I want to win has to do with how I think this match should go, like the finish. I want Stephanie to win, and here's why. I think that if they really want to, since you were talking about the Raquel earlier, and yes, side note, I do agree that yeah, Raquel should have been involved in this match in some capacity, like being a participant of it, because I think that would have made things a whole hell lot more unpredictable and a lot better build wise. But I think, or at least I hope, Raquel is going to cost for the title. I think Stephanie.
Mm.
I think Raquel should, obviously, it's WWE, so there's always going to be a ref bump. So ref gets taken out, obviously, and then that's when, just when Raquel comes out like usual, but just when we think she's going to attack Stephanie, she Tahana bombs Liv Morgan, gets out of the ring, which allows Stephanie to hit that corkscrew moonsault of hers and retain the title. Um, and also, I do like Liv, but let's be honest, we we could do with we could if I don't think Liv should win the title on the premises of I think we need to give other opportunities to people who haven't won titles yet. So yeah, so I think Stephanie's gonna win. I hope she wins. Like that's what I want to win. Who do I think is gonna win? In WWE, yeah, they're probably gonna give that shit to Liv Morgan. Let's be real.
Yeah, I was gonna. You first off, you're cooking. You're cooking. You're cooking. Listen, y'all. You smell that? You smell that? Not what the Rock is cooking. We don't care about that anymore. You smell what the Phantom is cooking. Holy
Mhm.
shit! No, that's a. I didn't even ponder that. That would be perfect. That would be perfect, honestly. And then have Roxanne Perez be ringside and watch, and then not know who to side with, the person that you won the tag team championships with, or the person that introduced you to the Judgment Day in the first place, the person you returned to help. Nah, he's cooking, guys. He's fucking cooking. He's cooking, and I don't smell sazon. I smell fire. That's smoke. Do you
Yeah.
smell what the Phantom is cooking? I'm gonna cue the theme song. Hopefully, I'm gonna have the theme song playing. I gotta. If I don't do myself justice to edit the Rock's old 1997 theme song in here, I'm gonna do that. But that's beautiful. I honestly love that. That is wonderful. I think that's if they're smart, that's how that should go. But if you're gonna have the Judgment Day split up anyways, because I mean it's time, man. It's really time. Um. Uh. But yeah, Liv's gonna win, and I agree with you. They should definitely set it up to where other women's wrestlers should have an opportunity. But I also want to state this too. Liv Morgan she's a two-time world champion. If she wins, she would be a three-time world champion. So it's not such a bunch of reigns for her, but it would be, like she was gone for most of the year, so it would be two reigns, 2 years. So um like I don't remember, like she lost it to Rhea Ripley on like a random Raw, if I remember that right. Like she,
Um,
or it was on the,
yeah,
it
it
was
was
on.
on the Raw. That was on the Raw on Netflix debut.
Yep. That's what I was thinking. Yep. So I get it. Um, I understand why that happened, but yeah, okay. Uh, hmm. Yeah, Liv's gonna win. I mean, honestly, this might ruffle some feathers, but expected winner. I am actually going to share that with who I want to win. I love Stephanie Vaquer. I like Stephanie Vaquer way more than Liv Morgan, but I just think Liv Morgan has more storylines for her as a champion than Stephanie does. I love Stephanie. Again, I got to state that, but we go on storyline wise for the title, like the storylines aren't going to mean as much for Liv if a title's not attached. Obviously WWE is kind of grooming her to be one of the next greatest women's wrestlers of all time. Three Reigns is going to put her in rare company. So, um, Nikki Bella company to be, more particular. And I don't know if y'all think that's a good thing or a bad thing, but whether y'all think so or not, Nikki Bella is a Hall of Famer. Do with that what you will. So yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I see Liv winning this one. Um, and I'm gonna feel really sorry for Stephanie after the fact, but I think if Stephanie loses, she deserve a break from wrestling for a second. She's been carrying since joining WWE or since joining the main roster. Like even in NXT, she was all over the place, man. Like she was consistently giving us bangers, banger after banger after banger. So yeah, Stephanie would deserve like a an extended vacation. Give the fans a little break from her. Reset her momentum. Obviously, she's gonna come out to a huge pop whenever she does return. Just to set it up for you know, later rivalries. Obviously, her and Naomi have got some beef with each other still. So we'll wait on that. But yeah, live for a storyline, from the storyline standpoint. So that's unfortunate that we kind of agreed there. But I don't have too much against Liv Morgan. I just her character to me is just kind of cringy. But
Yeah.
yeah,